feel better as a person doing things like this? This is February 4th. Does this make you feel less of a child molesting monster parading around in human skin? There is no forgiveness for what you did to me in my home in Utah, grandma and grandpa's house in Las Vegas. Or maybe that's what it was. Las Vegas, I guess. It looked like it was hard to read that. And right above grandma and grandpa's head in their very own truck. The rest of the family is just about as much to blame as you because you didn't turn in when they didn't turn you in when you knew better. And I was just a child and you did not know better. Sorry, I was just a child and did not know better. And yet you're still welcomed at family get-togethers or like my grandfather's funeral, the while in the parking lot getting ready to get out of the car and attend, I seen your face and became so violently ill, I couldn't even attend. I had to drive down to the street to the CVS and watch it all via Zoom. All these people may be calling you a hero and saying that you're doing such great things, but we both know the truth about you. And you're obviously not ashamed of your past, but I also am not ashamed of my past. And I have a voice and I use it as much as I possibly can. Your secrets are not hidden. AWP support team. I'm so very sorry for the things that we cannot change. It is unfortunate that LASIK and Jushi lineage, I don't know what that is, experienced the shit that you and I and many other cousins were brought into. Like yourself, I was once a victim by multiple people, both in and out of the family. It's unfortunate when families like ours experience. Oh, that works. Okay, this is the continuation we were reading. Like yourself, I was once a victim by multiple people in both in and out of the family. It is unfortunate when families like ours experience molestation. Many of us cousins got together to acknowledge what had happened in our youth and made a pact to put an end to it and protect our children from anything like that ever happening to them. I have myself tried to apologize to you and to have an open conversation with you about it to answer any questions you may have. So if this is Jared, I don't know, allegedly, if this is Jared replying, if that's him, I guess he's claiming, this person would be claiming that him himself was abused, which I have heard stories. I'm not excusing anything, which I have heard stories that sometimes these people go on to do the same thing that they've been through, the same traumas. They'll do it themselves over. The first time that I apologized to you, I'm very sorry for the way that it was handled, for I was under the impression that our mother knew and that I felt it was appropriate at the time to have the conversation with both of you. I did not mean to embarrass you or catch you off guard. The second time that I tried was not to clear my own conscience, but to help you heal and help any struggles you may have been having, as many of us had to learn how to overcome and move forward. You essentially told me to go F myself and told me how I had embarrassed you the first time around. I'm sorry. My understanding is that other cousins also have tried to have the same conversation with Jesus. What the hell is going on in that family? We are all now adults, and it is healthy for us to acknowledge and address those unfortunate circumstances from our past and our childhood and adolescent years. Wow. We just read that one. While there is a lot of shit that happened throughout my own life personally, from molestation, abandonment, growing up in foster care, and any other shit along the way, I would not change a thing for it has made me who I am today. I cannot apologize for others for anything that has happened in your life, but I have done my best to acknowledge directly with you my own mistakes. I hold no secrets as to this with my own parents and grandma and grandpa, with your mother, aunt, somebody, and my own wife and children. I have even discussed publicly about my situation and the unfortunate shit that has happened within families. Do we pinpoint it to the LASIK and the Jewish lineage, or do we pinpoint it to Mormonism? And this is kind of like, this is kind of, like I said, I had my friend reading this to me while I was prepping for the stream a little bit. They're going to go into a conversation about Mormons. And remember, we just talked about, they were talking about Utah. It gets weird. Do we need to pinpoint this to the LASIK and the Jewish lineage, or do we pinpoint it to Mormonism? I do not have an answer. There's no way for me to understand the hatred and resentment that you must have for me over the 3 decades later. I heard about you driving into the cemetery a few weeks later. Trust me, had I known that you had a desire to be there and that I was the only reason keeping you away, I would have 100% given up my time to do what I could to avoid that ceremony so that you would feel comfortable and have your time with grandma and the rest of the family. It is your decision and your choice if you ever want to accept my apology. I have made peace in my life with all things bad, including this situation. If you ever want to discuss, I'm always available to have that conversation with you, either in person or over the phone. Sincerely, Jared. Somebody said gaslighting. Maybe. So this is the, it looks like this is the reply back. If you truly want to apologize and pay for your actions, walk into a police station with me and confess your actions. Get it on record and have yourself registered as a sex offender. That you are my only regret in my life, was not being as, let me do it again. Have yourself registered as a sex offender. That you are my only regret in life was not being as open about you and your abuse to anyone and everyone who would listen like I am now. And turning you into the police like you should have been, I don't understand how you can try and get me to sympathize with you and your past issues. Not at all. It angers me twice as much to know that not only did you know firsthand the torture you were inflicting upon me because you experienced it yourself, that makes you an even bigger monster than I have ever pictured it in my mind. Absolutely disgusting. You're an emotional vampire. I noticed all the therapy terms you used in your message, typical narcissism at its best. How somebody could ever come to peace with damaging such a young, innocent human being is beyond me. Proof of a completely broken mind, assuming that there would be any kind of peace after those types of actions, or that peace should even be deserved. You are a pedophile. This is what they're stating. I'm just reading what they're stating. Do not act like you were not old enough to know what you were doing to me during those ages that you could have been tried as an adult at that age and should have been. And as to the comments about my life and the things that have happened to me, I don't know who or why you're even discussing me with, but I can guarantee you that nobody really knows anything, because just like your situation, I've kept my mouth shut until recently. And I don't talk to any of the family despite what other, as you say, cousins have come to you and said. So be a real man, turn yourself in and pay for your crimes, or continue to be the small, sad mental midget that couldn't keep his libido under control and blames it on his past. Oh, shit. Hey, Umbrella Guy, man, what's up? Welcome. Legend with the whole... I'm glad you sidestepping for a second. I'm glad you overcame that CPS thing. I was watching your Twitter. Kind crazy what people do. This whole situation is just, I don't know, man. I'm blown away. Again, like I said, he's going to have his day in court. I think it said November 30th. We'll be following. I think it is important to kind of, talk about this, let this person have a voice. We'll see, what happens in court. Unfortunately, your desire to have a 46-year-old male live the mistakes of a 12-year-old simply is not realistic. So this seems like him replying back now. Thank God we're not forever judged by our actions as youth, and I'm grateful that many of us cousins acknowledged. That's just so weird. How many other cousins, like, what was that, a family thing? Was that going on in the family? Was that like a commonplace thing in the family? There was just all these cousins are just, taking advantage allegedly of younger kids or younger ones. I don't know. Maybe that they think that's normal or something. Many of us cousins acknowledge and stop those sins which happened to us and those sins we once committed as a result of grooming. It is healthy for you to now be open and talk about the past. You, as a full-grown woman in your early 40s, are to be commended for facing and standing up to those actions which happened to you in your past. I don't know, man. That sounds kind of like bullshit. like here, pat yourself on the back. Well, and anyway, she is standing up now, apparently. Spread awareness and stop the cycle as we cousins within the family have for our own children and grandchildren. Protect your children and grandchildren as we have to help the world become a better place. We live in a society that acknowledges the mistakes made in the past, accepting those who have proven to change. My life holds no secrets, and everyone in my office feels your pain and has seen the email string. So everybody's seen, apparently, according to this thing, they've seen the back and forth within that office, within the company, I guess. For I don't filter my own emails. They know me for the man that I am and not for the mistakes of a 12-year-old who learned to recognize, which actually I calculated to, I think he was 16 from what I calculated. I could be wrong. I calculated if the document stated that she was 9 to 10, it said under 14, and then the probable cause between 9 to 10. I calculated it back to, oh my God, I'm going to get to that. Somebody had sent me a text of some of the disgusting allegations too. I think we're still on the surface. I don't know. So I believe he was older than 12, but I don't know. We'll see. 16 and 17 is the ages that I calculated for him. But a 12-year-old who learned to recognize the cycle and break the cycle, as many of us cousins did. You were younger and not ready to accept my apology and recognize the steps we made for future generations to protect them. I hope you can one day find forgiveness and peace. That's crazy. Feel free to have any last words, for I will not respond to any further attacks to my character today based upon those actions as a youth. Is it an attack on your character? If this stuff was true, is it really an attack on your character? If that was true at some point? I can only imagine if this stuff was true and this is the reply that she's getting. If it was true, I'd be infuriated. see this stuff. She should desire a healthy adult conversation as to the past, because he's trying to tell you, you're not healthy. You went through this stuff and you're not being healthy, confronting me and talking about it. Should you desire to have a healthy adult conversation as to the past, I'm open to helping you through the I'm going to help you. I'm open to helping you through the acceptance and growth that many of us have faced and dealt with. Bruh. Let's see. We read this part. I think there's the continuation. Here we go. If you have not done so already, I may suggest reaching out to and lean on her for guidance as one closer to your age. Reach out to who? To your age, who within the family has gone through this with us. Oh, okay, it's redacted. It's redacted. So he suggested somebody in the family. If you have not done so already, I may suggest reaching out to and lean on her for guidance as one closer to your age, who within the family has gone through this with us. I'm not sure your relationship with Aunt Blank or your mother, but I suggest leaning on the as well, for they experienced much of the same in their own youth. Damn. So if this is really him, they're claiming that this is a family thing, and I guess it's been going on in the family, and I guess they're trying to overcome it. And here we go. So here's the reply. Let's do some math here. I was 9 or 10 when living in Utah, and you forced me to have sex with you on my bathroom floor upstairs. You are 6 or 7 years older. This is what I was just telling you about the calculations. And it's not just, it's literally the court documents that set the calculations. Like, you can just track it back. So you are 6 or 7 years older than me. That makes you older than 12. In Las Vegas at Grandma and Grandpa's house, you were living there and you had your own car, a Volkswagen Beetle, and was driving it when it ran. So please stop making it sound as if you were a young child during the time you were molesting me. Maybe you started that young with others, but as you are not willing to face your wrongdoing in a proper fashion, then it is on you and you alone. Anyone who supports you in your sick delusional fantasy of forgiving yourself for the pain and suffering you caused and willingly and knowingly caused not only a child but your own family member, but I do appreciate you admitting it all in writing. Crazy. And he wrote back, you're welcome. I hope it helps you in the healing process. Bro, that's such bullshit. I would be pissed. I don't know. I just feel like maybe it is a step or something, right? I don't know. If this is really him. And I know people that have emailed AWP and they've sent me screenshots, and this is usually what it says. I mean, this person really should have put the drop-down menu. I'm sure maybe if they're out there somewhere, so we can confirm the email address, because this name here, anybody can kind of put that in. But if you hit the drop-down, then you actually see the actual email address. I mean, for court, I'm sure they'll do it. They have the email. They're going to have to show that. But I believe this exchange really happened. This conversation happened between these two people. There's more too, though. We're not done yet. So this is the person's name on Reddit. Okay. Note Revolutionary 736. This is the alleged victim, right? And so again, viewer discretion advised. This is only for adults. You shouldn't have kids around. This is a little, let me just zoom in a little bit more. I told a good many of people that the man they all think is a huge hero to the community is really not as great as a man as they might think. He abused me and many other of our family members, and it was all covered up by family. Okay. I mean, this is just wild. If these conversations that we just read are true, it corroborates this post here. He abused me and many others in our family members, and it was all covered up by family. I had maybe like 3 people, if even that, say anything other than unkind and rude comments. The few who did deleted them. I did have a few kind souls reach out in a message, and that was awesome of them to do so. This has been a very hard thing to do, standing up and telling the truth all these years later. And with that, and with what evidence I did have, I finally pressed charges. In one of the states, he abused me, and because thankfully I do not fall in the statute of limitations, I've had so many people claim it cannot be true. I'm sure there's going to be a whole bunch of people. And like, again, he does have his day in court. He has to go, they're going to have to go take this out and handle it. I do feel for this person, especially if this is true. It seems like it possibly could be, but again, we have to wait and see. Well, that would be because I said it earlier, the family covered it up and nothing was ever reported. I just don't understand how people can stand behind a person they know nothing about other than the fake mask worn to cover the monster underneath. He's a YouTube personality. That does not make him a saint. It did not help Bill Cosby, Roman Polanski, Harvey Weinstein, Kevin Spacey. I could go on, but you get the point. Everyone thought they were great people until I have been silenced. until, yeah, I have been silenced anytime I try to speak out. What's everyone scared of if all they believe is it's a lie? If they believe all, it's a lie. There's another post here too. There was one that I missed. Is this in here? Okay. Please be aware I had no idea until recently when I had the unfortunate chance of coming across a video of my childhood rapist, Jared Lasik, my cousin, yes, my own flesh and blood, and I wasn't his only family victim. And honestly, who knows how many others there are out there that aren't part of our family. Due to his diving group, Adventures with Purpose, this man is regarded as a hero and an angel, and he is invited into people's homes with welcome, loving arms. He has been through the systems, CPS, the Mormon Church, therapies, and so many more, as you'll be able to tell from his writing. But I do know for a fact that he did not start with me. He didn't stop with me either. He, at one point, like you will read, did verbally admit to my mother, molested me, obviously skimming over the more horrific parts, like his attempted sodomizing of her daughter directly above her. My grandmother and my grandmother's heads, by the way, and the fact that at the age of 9 to 10, they're talking about the cousin, obviously skimming over the more horrific parts, like his attempted sodomizing of her daughter, right, directly above my grandfather and my grandmother's heads, by the way, and the fact that the age of 9 or 10, he gave me a yeast infection from raping me. Oh my God. And I had no idea. So I had to go through the trauma of my mother and my grandmother finding white stuff in my panties and treating me horribly and questioning me and punishing me for the problem. When he told her, she started to cry, hugged him, and told him that she forgave him. Are you kidding me? Bro, if that's true, she never turned him into the police, and I was never got any form of help or anybody to talk about it. We went out to go travel on the carnival, which made me unable to be anywhere for more than a week, which meant that I couldn't say anything to anyone. My own mother protected him and never even talked to me about it, other than to tell me she had been blank and her story was worse than mine. Also, she had been, something happened to her mother. He finally admitted it in writing because he and the family are all very sure that the status limitations have passed and he's safe, so he can. But just so you're aware and can keep your own daughters safe, be very careful around this man. His business is in Bend, Oregon, and it's sad. It makes me can't read the rest. Okay. Just to clarify, again, this person has posted the links to these emails before in this form. I wouldn't be sharing them otherwise. So, wow. I mean, again, like I said, this guy's time in court. He'll go defend himself. I'm sure he's more than adequate to get an attorney. They got a lot of finances. I hope this person, the alleged victim, I hope they have the sources that they need. Maybe they should start a GoFundMe. Maybe people would help them out. Maybe they'll come forward and talk more. I don't know. I'm gonna take a look at some of the comments. So the situations are from October 1st, 1992, and November 1st, 1992. The counts of rape, and January 1st, 1992, and December 31st, 1992. And it says, state of Utah, the defendant did have sexual intercourse with a child who was under the age of 14 in violation of Utah code. Wondering, so the charges, the indictment of charges, this is all recent, filed 11/3/2022. The situation happened in the 1990s, but this is new. And he has to go, he's been summoned to court, okay, for November 30th, 2022. He has an initial appearance. So I'll probably follow this. I'm sure a lot of people are going to follow this. There's probably